Okay guys, it's Wes here again. I know I haven't posted any videos on this thing for a little while. Reason being is I had a few jobs come in that I had to take care of, a little bit priority. A couple people want to take vacation for Christmas, so I took care of them there. But in the meantime, I pulled off ahead on this thing. And what I was doing was checking the sleeves to make sure there's even worth rebuilding. These things slip sleeves a lot, and its main cause is overheating. And the reason why I'm doing it this way, there's a few things I want to show you with these engines, about especially oil, how crucial your oil is on these, and the overheating. Now, when I say overheating, you're automatically going to think your engine coolant, your water pump, your thermostat, stuff like that. And now that does have a big role in this. It really does. But that's not the only overheating issue you have to worry about when it comes to slipping a sleeve in these things. And I'll show you right quick what you want to look for a slip sleeve. This one is okay. This engine, well, this bank, I should say. I haven't done the other side yet. Now, I want to show you a few things on that before I take it off. But the best way to check for a slip sleeve on these, and they usually say number 3 and number 7 are the main ones that go, or the usual ones that go. Number 7, I wouldn't really put a whole lot of thought into that one because you'd have a major water inlet right there to keep that one cool. Number 1, you just got a hole, you know. So that one would go before number 7 would, I believe, you know, in my opinion. But these center cylinders, you know, 3 and 5, and the same on the other side, 4 and 6, would be the ones that you want to focus more on. And if you suspect a slip sleeve, once you pull that head off, the best way to check, and I'll show you on the other head as well, the one that I got pulled off, but run your finger over this slip right here on all your walls. Just go all the way around it. Now, if that thing is slipped, you will feel it. Because when they slip, they tend to stay above the deck, and sometimes they'll go under the deck. But if they go under the deck, you will see a clean ring around your cylinder wall, and that is a definite sign of your sleeve is slipping. But if you run your fingers over the edge of these, if it's slipped up and it's stuck, in, you know, you'll feel it. You will definitely feel it. And another thing, you know, if you got a slip sleeve and your head gaskets are good and you want to check see if you got a slip sleeve, check your pistons. You know, that's going to be a major telltale sign of a sleeve issue. You know, assuming you got a good head gasket. Now, a head gasket will do the same thing if it blows. But what you want to look for, especially this is going to be more relevant to a slip sleeve, these things will look extremely clean compared to the other ones. And the reason that is if you get heat, steam, water on these, so it's just going to keep heating that up and it's going to steam clean it. So if these pistons are cleaner than the rest of them and your head gasket is okay, check for cracks. If you have no cracks, you most likely have slipped this sleeve. The aluminum has let go of this sleeve. Well, or any of the sleeves. That's how you check that. Or you can spend money, take to the machine shop and let them deal with it. But I'm going to save you some money doing this stuff yourself. I'll show you what to look for, show you how to check it. But just run your fingers over there. You will feel it. You will see it. Trust your feel. Trust your sight. If it doesn't look right, it's not right. There's no room for error on these engines, so it won't take much to trash it. You know, like I said, just look for those things for a slip sleeve. Now, this bank is okay. You know, this bank's fine. I still have to do the other side. Like I said, I want to show you guys something about that. And another thing that we're going to get to is the oiling issue with these. And people who think it's a myth that sludge occurs if you don't take care and maintain your engine. I'm going to prove that today with this video. And it is more crucial with these engines than anything else. I guarantee you what I will go through and show you and explain to you will save you a headache in the future. Another thing, I had somebody ask me about the engines on these. How do you tell which one's a Bosch, which one's a Gem? There's a few ways to tell, but I'm going to show you the easiest, quickest way to tell just by looking under the hood. Okay, on your intake, your plenum cap, this right here is a Gem engine. A Gem engine has this cap on there. A Bosch engine has what looks like a bunch of pipes coming through the top, a lot of plumbing. That's a Bosch engine. So that's the easiest way to tell what you have. Another thing, we'll go ahead and get to the oil on these. People who use synthetic in these, I strongly urge you not to. People say once you go synthetic, you can't go back to anything else. Well, that's a myth. Manufacturers blend synthetics with conventional oil all the time. When you buy something that's synthetic blend, there you go, it's blended with conventional oil. But there's a major reason why you do not want to use synthetics in these, and I will go over that right now. Synthetics is pretty much made for newer vehicles. You can use it in old ones. I would not recommend using it in anything aluminum. And with these engines, well, any engine, if you have that burns oil, if you use synthetic, it'll just make it worse. And the reason is synthetic oil is thinner compound, smaller molecules, and they break down even smaller through its use. So if you have a gasket leak, you're going to have more of a leak with synthetics. It's just thinner, it'll seep through easier. That's why they tell you not to use it on anything under 10,000 miles, because usually it takes about 10,000 miles for all the rings, all the gaskets to seat properly and seal correctly. That's why they don't recommend using it under anything with 10,000 miles or less, or on fresh rebuilds. When I rebuild an engine, will void a warranty if synthetic oils are used. And basically, I mean, when I rebuild an engine, I give you the option of 2 different brands of oil to use, and if you use anything other than those 2, I void out the warranty. And that's more of my thing, because from what I've seen in the past, what oils I've used in the past, the damages from other brands, that's why I used only 2 brands, and it is stated specifically in my warranty sheet that those brands have to be used and they have to be changed on time. Just because I put my name on something, and when I build something, I take pride in it and I want it to last. And that's why I use specific oils. Let me go turn this radio down here. Okay, back to the oil. And, not using synthetics in these. The reason why, now, like I said, synthetics breaks down. It's a lot thinner than conventional oil. Now, they say that it being thinner, it cools down quicker. Now, that may be the case, but it's not. I guess it might just be me. Somebody may swear by it, may not. But it's me. Synthetic oil, if it's thinner, it may cool down more, but it won't take much for them cylinder walls and piston sleeves to get hot, and that's where your overheating comes in. That's not an overheating that you get warned of in the vehicle. That is, there's no signal telling you that oil is too hot or your walls are too hot. Because once you get friction in these walls with your rings, well, it can grab, and guess what? You just split the sleeve. That's the main reason why I wouldn't use synthetic in these. Now, that's your call, but that's my opinion. And back to the oil brands. People swear by Pennzoil. They swear by Quaker State. In my past experiences, it's even been reviewed online. You can look that up. Quaker State, Pennzoil were some of the worst engine oils ever made. And the reason being is they sludge up. When it comes to these engines, sludge is your worst enemy. So you got to make sure you use the correct oil. You don't want to, you don't want to stretch and go a route that's going to hurt you it's going to hurt you in the long run. The only two oils that I will ever use, and like I said, this is my opinion. This is what I put in my warranties. This is all me. You use whatever you want, but I'm going to save you a little headache. When it comes to aluminum, sludge will just clean. It just cleans. So what you want to look for, and this is ultimately what caused my oil failure in this engine. The guy I got it from said he changed it on time. Well, who knows? He could have just been lying to me just to sell a vehicle. And if he did, well, the guy before him may not have taken care of it. He could have used the wrong oil. I mean, it's just bad brands. I mean, Walmart oil is better oil than what they've used in this thing. And that's no joke. I've put over 500,000 miles on engines with Walmart oil, using nothing but Walmart oil. And they come out clean. I mean, just absolutely clean. But this one, I don't know what they used. The guy I bought it from said he had to use a Lucas additive. I don't remember why, but for those of you who think it's a myth, the engine oil sludges up bad enough to kill an engine, right there's proof. This is just absolutely horrible. And with these engines, these aluminum engines, look at that. Okay. These engines have multiple oil galleys, tiny oil galleys, smaller than this right here. I mean, there's so many of them in there, it's not funny. And they have to have them because it is a vital thing for aluminum. You have to have that many. And when you're sludged up like this, those oil galleys get clogged, and then you lose your oil pressure. You start starving things for oil. Usually the first to go is the lifters, but that's not always the case. This rocker rail right here is extremely dependent on that oil. And guess what? This one's not getting it. And this ultimately is what caused my engine to fail. Something so simple has just cost me $1,000 to fix. So you want to make sure you use good quality oil, and the only two oils that I use is Castrol and Valvoline. It's the best oil I've ever used. It's a little bit more expensive. Some people may not want to spend that extra money, but think about it. You spend a few extra dollars on that oil, you save yourself from this. Because this, like I said, is going to be about $1,000 repair. And if I was to do this for somebody else, you got my labor prices you got to pay, which I'm still cheaper than anybody else around, but that's not the point. Use good oil, save yourself this expensive headache. And those are, like I said, that's my opinion. If you don't want to heed my warnings and use whatever you want, I mean, that's fine. I mean, that's your engine. That's your money. But this is from experience. This is not something you want to mess around with when it comes to aluminum. It will not take much to block them galleys. And like I said, that's what ruined this engine. That's what spun the bearings. That's why I lost my pressure. It just clogs everything. Once you do that, I mean, a brand new oil pump for this thing is about $600. Just keep that in mind. You can rebuild them, and that's what I'm going to do with this one. I'm going to rebuild it, and I'm going to do a tutorial on that. It's not that you can't do it. There are grooves that are made, scoring that's made inside those mating surfaces that have a lot to do with the oil pressure. So you got to lap that clean. Smooth surface, but you can't go too much or you'll have too much space in there. And that's going to be another video. I'm going to show you how to resurface those by yourself. It's cheap, it's easy, and you can buy the gears. You can buy the rebuild kit. I think the rebuild kit is like $110. We can just buy the gears for $100. Like I said, if you don't do those surfaces, you're just wasting your time and money because you won't have the proper pressure. But that's another video. We'll go over that sometime later down the road when I get to it. But do yourself a favor. If your Rover is running fine, just go ahead, go buy you some gaskets for your valve covers and take them off and check. Because if you see that, you don't have to replace it. You don't have to clean it. But I would recommend you do so immediately. Even if you just do the top end. And it's another thing, these things, the head gaskets on these, if you haven't replaced them or if you don't know if they've ever been replaced, fork out $200. RoverParts.com has a top end gasket kit, everything you need to do the top end, and they come with new head bolts. Every time you take these off, you've got to put new bolts in there. And that's because they're based off of spring. They don't spring per se, but it's the way they're designed. They release and contract for the aluminum. So once you take them out, you lost that spring. Okay, so you need to replace those every time you take these heads off, and that $200 kit comes with those. And like this one had the original metal head gaskets. They were not coated. And that's one of the main failures with these things, the head gaskets, and that's why they're just metal. They're not a good thing. So spend the money. If you look like that, do yourself a favor, pull them off, clean them, and put them back in there. Just buy you a new gasket. Get you something that's coated, something that's going to last. Now, if you can't afford, the good gaskets, if you got to buy the cheap ones, that's fine. Cheap ones will get you by for a little while. But ultimately you want to go with something that's going to last. And if you go with the cheap ones, there is a spray in a can. I can't remember who makes it. I think it's Duplicolor. No. Yeah, it might be Duplicolor. That makes it you can spray on those, and it's a copper-based adhesive that coats them. If you have to go the cheaper route, get you a can of that and coat your gaskets. But honestly, spend the extra money and get the good stuff. This is not an engine you want to mess around with. But that's my opinion. I mean, take it as you will. This is just from my experience, what I've learned in the past, what I've used, what I haven't used, what I will never use. That's just my thing. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt, take it however you want. But that's my opinion. But these, you do not have any room for error on these engines, not at all. So save yourself the time. Go through, check your heads, look at them. If they're sludged up like that one is, pull your top end apart. Save yourself the headache that you will have in the future if you do not. Like I said, that is what killed this engine, that sludge. So just save yourself the headache. Rover has a bad review as it is, but you know what? These things have been around long enough. People have enough common sense on these that you learn how to make these things last longer. And using proper oil, making sure your oil's changed on time, every time, that'll save you a lot of money in the long run. Change those gaskets, use good oil, make sure you change it on time. Change it 500 miles early. There's nothing wrong with that. Now, if you have to go the route of cleaning these, taking these off, cleaning them, you can go to a machine shop, and what they're going to do is they're going to boil them. They're going to hot tank them. Now, they're not going to take these as hot as they would iron, but think about that. Heat is the number one enemy of aluminum. Now, they do it all the time. There's nothing wrong with it, but you're just putting it through another heat cycle that it doesn't really need to go through. If you want to save some money and resurface these yourself, it's not hard to do. People say you can't do it. It takes a steady hand and some real fine grit sandpaper. You can resurface them Not a problem. I don't care what anybody says. It's not going to hurt the engine. You just got to make sure you do straight, smooth sanding. That's all it is. Do it by hand. Don't use any machine to do it. Just do it by hand and run straight passes over that. Now, when it comes to cleaning this stuff, you don't want to spend the money in a machine shop. What you can do is go buy you some mineral spirits, 100% mineral spirits, and that will absolutely take that stuff off. Now this other head off the other side is one I took off and I cleaned because I was going to inspect it. This one looked just like the other one. Just like it. This is what mineral spirits will do to it. Nothing but mineral spirits and a nylon brush. Now, obviously I still have to go through and resurface this, and I'm going to clean it up a little bit more. But I was just doing this to inspect for any kind of cracks, any defects, and basically this head is good. But this is what you want to look at. You want your head to look like this when you pop that valve cover off. Even if you have 100,000 miles with the oils that I use, I guarantee you'll come out clean, just like this. Guarantee it. Change it on time. Use the oil that I recommend. I mean, but like I said, that's your call, that's your engine, that's your money, that's your headache. I'm just trying to save you a little bit of time here. But what I done was I took this apart, cleaned it up, and basically what I was doing is I was looking for cracks. And another thing, if you have a slit sleeve, once you clean off your head, if you have a slit sleeve that's knocking up here, you'll see a pretty nasty groove, ring around here. It'll be chewed up. That's something else you can look at for slit sleeve. But this one come out okay. Just got to check the other side. But if you clean yours, take yours apart and clean them up with mineral spirits. Even if you just clean them like this, you know, that little bit of dirt in there is not going to harm you. You know, I shouldn't say dirt, but it's stuck in the pits of the aluminum. Just make sure you get all the sludge out of there. Now, like I said, these ones got to go through another cleaning, but you can do this by yourself with some mineral spirits. You just got to find someone who will let you dispose of it, because that is a hazardous material once you use it. So that's going to be your only obstacle, is finding somebody that you can take it to that can dispose of it. Me, I recycle mine. I filter it out and I keep reusing it. So I don't have to really worry about that. But that's basically what you want to look for. Save yourself the headache. Go those extra steps that I just mentioned. Trust me, it will save you a headache in the future. You do not want to have to rebuild one of these. If you can't do it yourself, you do not want to have to pay for it. These are not cheap to do. I've had estimates on this one just to see what the going rate was around here. I said, I'm in Tennessee. The rates around here, I was anywhere from $4,000 to almost $6,000 to rebuild it. Now, I don't know about you. I think that's a bit ridiculous. Like I said, the parts, you're going to spend about $1,000. So think about that. Where's that $6,000 going? You're just lining somebody's pocket. This one, this build I would do for about, if I was to do it for somebody, be looking at about $2,000 if I was to do it. Maybe less, depending on what I had to do. But I guarantee this build would not be over $2,000. Now, for me, doing it for myself, you know, I'm only going to have about $1,000 in it because I don't have to pay myself to do it. That's just a little food for thought, something you might want to think about. Change your timing, too. If you're going to go this far, change your timing. Take that out. I said, you don't, now this one is designed to be floppy, but not like that. That's a little too floppy. I mean, I can make this thing jump a tooth, which is bad. But that's ultimately, you know, just go follow those steps, do those few things, and I promise you, I guarantee you, you will be so much happier with your engine. You'll get a hell of a lot more mileage out of it. If you want to go a little bit further, change out your thermostat. buy one that they call is fail-safe. If something goes wrong and you're starting to overheat, that thermostat's automatically going to stay open. If something fails in your cooling, if that temperature reaches a certain point, it's not going to close. It's going to stay open. That water's just going to keep circulating. Even if the thermostat fails, they've got it designed. If it fails, it's going to fail in the open position. So you'll pay a little bit more for it, but it's worth it. It's one of those small things you can do to help save your engine. That's what we've got going on here. Just wanted to show you a few more things to look at. Something to watch out for. What I would recommend, like I said, that's your engine, that's your money. You know, do what you want. Like I said, it's your pocket, it's your vehicle. But that's just my past experience. Some people probably shun me for, you know, saying Pennzoil and Quaker State's bad oil. That's my opinion. That's what I've seen in the past. You know, there's bad reviews on the internet over it. But if you want to swear by it, go ahead and use it. They may have changed their formula, but I'm going to stick with somebody I know has got a proven track record. I said Castrol and Valvoline is the only oil I will use. And I will not put engine additives in there. If I've got a leak, I will not use a stop leak. I will not use a stop smoke. Fix it the right way, because that stuff gums up. Seafoam, if you're on your last leg, if you can't afford to rebuild, go ahead and use it. It's good stuff, but if you got the money, if you've got the time, just rebuild it, because that seafoam, it's just temporary. It does do good on carbon cleanup. It will clean up carbon very, very good. But, like I said, don't ever rely on an engine additive, or for a transmission for that matter. You know, stop leaks, they don't work. If you think about it, a stop leak is designed to gum up and seal the leak. Well, what do you think it's going to do to your galleys, your oiling galleys? It's going to do the same thing. You know, you may get lucky and get 300,000 miles out of it. You may get burnt the first quart you use. It's hard to say. You might be some of the lucky ones to make it work. But for me, those additives never go in. The only additive I will use on an engine is when I rebuild them, I will add zinc. That is the only additive I will put in there. That's a little food for thought. You know, that's my opinion. That's my suggestions. Take it as you will. Like I said, it's your money. But I just want to try and help y'all. This is not stuff you want to mess with. You know, that right there is an engine killer.